Hi, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining CNN Facebook. I'm Cherise Pham. I'm here live in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, where Tropical Storm Hermine passed through. The worst of Tropical Storm Hermine passed through last night, but as you can see, we are not out of the danger zone yet. So what's interesting is that we had a moment of calm for just hours this morning, from about 7 o'clock till I think about 11 o'clock in the morning. Very light wind, very little rain, and then all of a sudden it turned into this, where we had the 50 miles per hour wind gusts that were promised to us suddenly arrived. As you can see, we are in the middle of a storm here. So we've got a question from Facebook here, and it is, how does it feel out there? I can tell you it feels very wet. It is wet, it's humid, but it's not too hot. Earlier in the day, we're really close here. I don't know if you can see behind me, but right there, that white froth way in the distance, that's actually the ocean. This is a wonderful stretch of beach. It is the Labor Day weekend. We have run into lots of tourists and visitors, very determined, optimistic people here. And, you know, they didn't want to give up on their beach vacation. They came, they were out on the beach earlier when I said, like I said earlier, when it was a little bit calmer than it is right now. They were walking dogs, they were building sandcastles. We spoke to one gentleman from Asheville, North Carolina. And he came here with his 3 boys, all of them under the age of 6. So think of that, 3 boys under the age of 6. You drive 7 hours to come for your Labor Day long weekend, and you arrive, and he came to Ocracoke Island, which was unfortunately one of the few islands that was evacuated. So, you know, he didn't give up on his vacation. Instead of turning around and going home, he instead came here to the Outer Banks, and he was going to camp, but instead he parked the camper in the parking lot and holed up in the hotel with the rest of us. All right, we've got another question here from Facebook. It is, has anyone ventured outside today? Yes, as I was just saying, tons of people walking on the beach. Everybody's holed up inside now. They're either, you know, here where we are at the hotel, they're either in a pool, an indoor pool, enjoying that nice warm indoor pool, or they're holed up in the restaurant chowing down. All right, another question from Facebook, has the power stayed on? This is a great question. Excuse me while I just pop my hood back on. Thank you very much. Now, this is a great question. So overnight, when the wind and the rain was at its strongest, they had many power outages. As many as more than 44,000 people were without power today. Now, crews have been out and about servicing people, so they have gotten that number down to just over 27,000 throughout the state of North Carolina. Now, whether that number will stay down is another question, because like I said, earlier in the day, very calm. But now take a look at what's going on now. Very strong wind, very strong rain. All right, let's take a look here. Carmen asks, does it look like people took precautions? Carmen, that's a great question. Now, there have been precautions. There have been signs that have gone up on the beach while we were there, and people were walking along the beach and building sandcastles and, you know, kind of dipping their feet into the surf. And the surf is really, I can't even describe how powerful it is out there. Somebody came along and very firmly plunked down a sign that said no swimming. So officials have been out on TV, in the media, online, in social media, saying, stay off the roads. If you come across standing water, don't go into it, because 6 inches of standing water is enough to wipe away a car, or 8 inches, I believe. And there have been precautions taken. Now, officials have also said, don't go in the water, don't go in the ocean. We know it's Labor Day, we know that you want to have a good time, but it's very dangerous surf conditions out there and a strong riptide. All right, oops. Bear with me here, we got a wet phone here. So, I've got a question from Charlie. Charlie is asking, is it cold? Actually, no, you know, it's very windy. It looks like we're all being tossed around out here, but it's actually not that cold. It's you know, because it's a tropical storm, it's very humid. So, yeah, I've actually got gym shorts on underneath this, trying to stay cool underneath my rain kit, if you will. Alrighty. Janice asks, Janice. Janice asks, where exactly are you right now? So we're on Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. We're on the Outer Banks. And if you want to know specifically where we are, we're at the Ramada Plaza. And if you can't find the Ramada Plaza, that might be because overnight the winds were so strong that the sign of the hotel was knocked off and tossed into the street, where it lay in a puddle for a very long time until earlier in the morning they threw it in the trash. Thanks so much for that question. Thomas wants to know, how are you keeping that hat on? Well, Thomas, luck, sheer will. I have had to hold it down a couple times. I've got a ponytail back there, so that's helping to keep things battened down, if you will. But I did do a live shot a little earlier in the day, and it was out on the deck, well, a little bit closer to the ocean, and when you're closer to the ocean, the wind is a lot stronger. So my hat did actually fly off my head, and I caught it just before it went into the surf. All right, thanks for that question. Heather wants to know, are there dangers of flooding? Fabulous question, Heather. That is the warning that officials are putting out right now. One of the most dangerous warnings for the state of North Carolina is inland flooding. According to the National Hurricane Center, inland flooding is the highest leading cause of death from tropical storm systems. You know, I think everybody looks at these live shots that we do, and you see the wind and you see the rain, and these seem really, really dangerous. Wind and rain are absolutely dangerous, but inland flooding is something to absolutely be aware of. And as I said earlier, officials are really encouraging people to stay off the roads if they can. Thank you so much for that question. All right, Tommy wants to know, will the storm come up to New York City? At the moment, the forecast does not have it coming up to New York City. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has declared a state of emergency in several counties in New Jersey. Right now, the storm is on its way to Atlantic City and Virginia Beach. So if there's anybody out there on Facebook watching from Atlantic City or Virginia Beach, here is a glimpse of your future. So I hope you have rain boots. All right, great. What about the people with pets? Should they take precautions? Yes, people with pets should always take precautions. Again, I did see people out walking their dogs. And I talked to a few people who have pets in the hotel here, and they said that their dogs actually weren't spooked. There wasn't a lot of thunder or lightning or loud noises to spook them. So that has helped to keep the quadrupeds nice and calm. But if you do have pets, keep them on a leash. It's storm conditions, and if your dog is the kind of dog that usually likes to play in the surf or jump in the ocean, this is one of those moments where he could jump in and be taken away by a riptide. So do stay safe out there. Another question from Facebook. How long is this weather expected to last? Well, here in North Carolina, earlier in the day, the forecast was supposed to be that we would see the system die down by this afternoon. As you can see, that hasn't quite happened. In fact, we saw the opposite, where the storm has picked up and is hitting us in the face, quite literally in my case. So this weather. So what's interesting about Tropical Storm Hermine? It made landfall in Florida as a Category 1 hurricane, the first hurricane to make landfall in Florida in 11 years. Overnight, it was downgraded to a tropical storm. And now, as it's moving through the system and moving ahead to Atlantic City and Virginia Beach, it's currently in a post-tropical storm system. So what does that all mean? It means that even though it's moved from Category 1 hurricane to tropical storm to post-tropical storm, we are not out of the danger zone yet. Hermine is going to cause a lot of headaches for a lot of people. 40 million people are under severe weather warning right now, and that is because it's going to pick up steam, and it's going to it's expected to reach back into the hurricane category on Sunday or Monday. So forecasters are saying, you know, expect 5 days of pain from hurricane/tropical storm Hermine. How much damage has the area sustained? So actually here, we have not seen too much damage apart from what I told you earlier about the sign. But just a couple hours ago, when we were out there on the deck, the roof was just flailing and looked like it was about to be torn off, and parts of the roof were being peeled off by the wind and landed in the parking lot and destroyed a few of the cars there. And we actually have a couple of them that fell off the side over here. You can't see it, but that is where our satellite truck is. So our satellite truck operator was in the van and heard these loud boom, boom, booms. And that was actually parts of the roof falling off onto his satellite truck. All right, and we'll take one last question here. Michael asks, have you seen any beach erosion? Now, I have seen storm surge. I can't speak too much to beach erosion just yet, but the storm surge of 2 to 4 feet was expected. It's taken about, the beach is usually twice as big as what it normally, twice as small, excuse me, as what it normally would be. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Please, if you are in the path of the storm, listen to officials, stay safe, stay off the roads. Thank you so much.